This video will show you how to create and edit reports in OpenTrack. To start with, let's actually load some data that we've already tracked. So I'm going to go to Load Tracks. This is where you will usually go if you want to load up data that you've already finished with. And you'll notice I am in the OpenTrack Data Projects directory. Let's go, we'll go here. No, actually, let's do our example project. So I'll load the project data, I'll load the actual tracked markers, and now I'm actually in the tracking screen here. I don't really need to track anymore. I'm just going to click on Continue, and we'll make this a little bit bigger just for giggles. Okay, now let's create a few graphs here. I'm just going to create some just for argument's sake, and we'll go to the Graphs tab. So I'm going to graph the outer and the inner marker, and let's see. Let's graph the X and the Y position. Plot. You can see both of these plots very easily. I can graph some of the links I've made if I want to. So outer link, inner link. I'll hit plot again. Okay, so these are the initial ones. Notice the outer and inner are still checked. So we've seen those. And and of course, what have I left out? Glad I did this. Okay, so here, link kinematics. I didn't say what I wanted to plot with the links, so let's plot the orientation. Let's try this one more time. Plot, and now here we go. It's giving me an orientation graph. These two we've seen before. There we have it. There's our orientation graph. Looks like the barbershop, and of course this has to do with the argument of ATAN, or the range of ATAN. It basically you can go from -180 to +180. So it looks kind of funky, but it should be correct. Let's do one more thing. Let's do some angles. How about outer angle and inner angle? Now I'm being a little bit sloppy here, and I'm going to show you why in a moment. So let's go ahead and not hit plot. We already did that exercise. Let's actually do orientation. So here, angular kinematics corresponds to angles. Again, link kinematics corresponds to links, and everything else corresponds to markers. So I'll hit plot. So I get another new graph. We've seen that before. We've seen that before. Seen that one. All right, here we go. And this shows you the orientation of these given ones with respect to the x-axis. All right, now I'm going to click on this Reports tab. Now that Reports tab now shows everything I've plotted to this date, and I can look at anything if I want to in a lot more detail. Now I might not actually want to include everything here in my report because of course I just replotted a lot of stuff. So I'm going to uncheck the ones that I don't really want, and you know, the stuff at the end, that's really the stuff I ended up really wanting. So the stuff that is checked here, these graphs will automatically end up in your report. And so of course if you mouse over, you'll see select this if you wish the graph to be included in the report. So here I can create a report. You also have an edit button in case there's a report you already want to edit. If it's brand new, click create. There's a bit of a warning that tells you, whoa, here's what create report will do. Generally the report is an HTML file with a bunch of subdirectories, and everything is zipped together in a package. If you unzip it and just look at it in a regular HTML browser like Firefox or Internet Explorer, you will be able to see it. The only issue with Internet Explorer is that Internet Explorer doesn't allow you to view SVG, Scalable Vector Graphics files, which are what these guys are. So we'll call this example project. And so now here you get a lot of alert noise again. It tells you exactly where it's creating this, where everything is living. It It's copying all of those images into an image directory for the report. Zips it all together, sets the paths, and here we go, reads the main file. So now all of this stuff is there. Now I have this automatically generating captions for the above figure. If you don't like captions below, you can always rearrange things. And this is the report editor. I want to show you a few things here first. There are controls here along the left-hand side. So for example, you can add text, you can add equations, you can add new images. So any image of a web-compatible type, that's PNG, JPEG, GIF, or SVG, can be added. You can create tables, you can add video. I'll come back to that. This is how you would open a different report to edit. Here's how you create a new window in case you want to start editing a new report. That saves the report with a different name. This merges or combines a couple of reports. There's a slideshow mode. And of course there are various presentation options. This one is help. Let me click there real quick. This is a toggle. This means you want to get back, you toggle it again. The toggle help shows you virtually everything that you might want to do here. It has a little yap about each of the options under the controls. Okay, and then a little bit about Scratchpad, which we'll get into later, not in this particular video. So, if you want to navigate a little bit, this is a navigation pane, so this shows you everything, much in the way that, for example, if you use Adobe Acrobat, they've got a navigation pane. So here, if I click, it's going to go over and it's going to show me this image, and I can trash it or whatever. Let's go back here. So scroll down, show you this in action. So if I click here, let's try that again. Click on the gray. It shows me there, and it forwards this. Let me point out a couple of other things about this editor. See how, well, this particular image, if it's an SVG image, it's an active graph, and that means that all the stuff that we've done before with graphics, for example, if I double click there, I can edit the graph. In order to, let's get rid of that. In order to actually change things around, I have to click on that gray. See, clicking anywhere on that graph is going to cause an issue, but clicking on the gray will allow me to change things around, delete, move the graph, or so on. We'll come back to this idea here. I'm just going to click OK, and it's there. Now, if I want to add text or add anything, I can of course do it from here, but also if you right click, you'll see it says right click or control click to insert new content. If I right click, this is the different content that I can create. I can also decide whether to move the current object up or down in the document. So this sort of wholesale copies or moves. So for example here, if I move down, I've just effectively moved it below the caption. Move it again, move it again, and so on. So let's try that with this here. Something odd just happened there. Let's, okay, that one went down. And let's track along, see where it is. Yeah, so those moved very nicely. Let's try that one more time. Something a little bit odd looked like it was happening with the images. Okay. Now, you want to edit text. Edit text is very easy. This is my lab report. Okay, so you put your title there. This little checkbox says save and insert. That's very easy. Let's put a caption here. Instead of caption for above figure, caption for below figure. Let's call it, this is the X position of the markers versus time. And of course, you click OK, and that then is what you've just edited. I would encourage you, when you use this, to edit in blocks. Write each paragraph as its own separate text block rather than trying to include everything as one big block. The reason for this is then it's going to get really long, and if you make a mistake, you're going to feel sad here. The point of this, some people ask me, why don't you just give me something just like, for example, Microsoft Word? And the answer is this. There are times when we want to look at a graph, look at a value, talk about a value in a graph, and keep editing. So for example, if I wanted to write about this graph, let's say that I want to add, so I right-clicked, I'm going to add some text, move this aside, and maybe I want to talk about this graph. This graph has a number of interesting points to discuss. Okay, so I'm sort of blathering here, but the idea is to give you a point of how this can be used. So for example, the cursor is active over here on the right side in the window. I can mouse over, and I can, while I am seeing the thing that says point, the time at which the first data point was collected is 0.2333 seconds. Its X position value is 0.171 meters. The maximum X value is 0.205 meters, and this occurred, oh, my spelling's terrible, at 0.3095 seconds. So in short, you can be looking at something while actually writing about it. And one of the issues that you have in scientific editing when you deal with something like Microsoft Word, which really wasn't designed for that, is that you got to scroll back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in order to study a graph and also then write about it. So here we have some slightly different controls here. We can either insert this before the graph or before whatever object we had selected, or after. Let's do it before, and there we have it. It's in place where we need it to be. We can also insert equations. So let's go here. I'm going to right-click. Here's the equation. So we can make equations that look pretty simple. For example, we could do y equals mx plus b. Let's do something that has to do with rotary motion. So for example, the arc length s is equal to r times theta. How do you write theta? Watch this. Slash theta. And let's add it after what we just selected. And there it is. There's our equation. So Greek letters are trivial. You'll note that whenever a report is generated, there is always a sample equation here. I've chosen the quadratic equation because it shows certain things that are commonly done. So if you click there, you can see the grouping with the brackets, plus or minus, the slash PM, square root, how do you square something or raise it to an exponent, and so on. So all of that stuff is available for you, and you can, again, if you click on the help, here are some of the things that you can do. So I've given you some examples that you can use to understand how equations work. You can also, if you're particularly intrepid, add equations in line. Let me show you how that works. So I'm in the text editor. And now I want to add an equation. Well, to really add an equation, what I need to do is click on this View HTML Source. So clicking there, and then go back up to wherever I want to be. Let's say I want to be there. I have to remember this stuff. And by the way, the help shows how to do this. I would type span class equals math, and then I could write S equals R theta. Notice no spaces needed between the R and the theta. Span. Here, if you know a little bit of HTML, it helps. If you don't know HTML and this makes you feel uncomfortable or a little bit panicky, don't put equations in line. Put equations as their own objects in between paragraph text. I'd kind of encourage most people to do that anyway, because then things are easier to remember. If you have to edit something, you're not trying to scroll through scads of text to find what the proper equation is. Before you save it, you need to turn it to regular text. In this particular editor, which is we've adopted from Mozilla, it's called Midas. It doesn't support showing the equation until it's saved. So if you see this stuff, don't worry about it. Don't panic. Just click Save and Insert. And so now this is all in line. You can see it's all, the caption for the above figure, as they'd say, and the equation are both in gray. Here, this is in gray. Whatever's in gray, we can come back and edit it. To truly edit it, we better view HTML source, okay, and go from there. Some of the other features that you might want to do, you might want to include a new image. Let's do something kind of cool here. Anything that you see here in OpenTrack, so let's go to main. So here's our video, or our frame that's displaying. Anything you see there, if you right-click it, you can save it. So I'm going to do Save Image As, and I'm just going to call it, I'll call it canvas.ping. That's the default name. So it's been saved. So if I want to include that in my report, for some reason, let's see. Let's put it after this. I'm going to add new image. I right-click to get that menu, add new image, select file. Let's go here. There it is, canvas.ping. And I'm going to add it after. By the way, you can also edit these. This is kind of cool too. So there's a very basic paint program that you can use. So for example, let's make some yellow text. Yellow border with white fill, and here, this is text. There is no undo, so if you don't like what you do, close the window without saving. If you do like what you do, save it. Okay, and let's insert it first. Let's go after, and then let's come back and edit it. Oh, it did take it. It did take it. It just didn't show me. All right, so we saved it, and we're good to go. So that's how you would insert an extra image. So let's see. We've done text. We've done equations. We've done images. Let's do a table. Let's say we want to put these values in tabular form. We'll add a table. It asks you how many rows. Let's see. Let's go with 3 rows and 2 columns. And there's our table. So let's just enter this stuff in. Maybe we want to do time in seconds. You can tab, and here is position in meters. And if I hit the down arrow, I go up and down with the down arrow. If you go Shift Tab, you go backwards. The right arrow and the left arrow take you back and forth. And the reason for that is that you sometimes want to edit within a given cell. Tab to go right, and so on. These guys, do you want to insert something above the current row? Add a row below the current row defined by where the cursor is, delete the current row. So all of these controls should be pretty standard you should have seen things like this before. You can justify left, justify center, or justify right with everything. And the other thing you'll notice is down here, this shows you what cell you're in. So we start counting at 0 instead of 1. It's pretty standard. So let's put the first time in. Let's say it's 0.17. Oops, that's not time. 0.2333. First position 0.171, and I got a click there. This is 0.3095, and this is 0.205. Alright, so once I've got everything, here again I can insert it before or after. I'm going to insert it after, and there it is. So I have a table. Okay, so all of this is pretty straightforward and easy to do. If I decide that I want to delete something, let's say I decide I don't want this Y position, let's get rid of this first. If I don't want that, right click, okay, oops, sorry, let's try that again. Not right click, I'm not inserting, trash can, delete, and so that is gone. Now, if you need it back, it's still in the directory it was saved in. So for example, if I go here and I say, let's add an image back in, select, I actually can go back into this. There's an images directory, and whichever one, these are all the different ones that are there, you can actually add it back in if you want to. So there's the Y position. Okay, it says, it looks like this version already exists. Would you like to overwrite? If you select OK, the old version will be copied and then replaced with a new version. We're just going to hit cancel, and it's going to use the original version of the image. We'll add it after, and so there it is. So we can easily get things back. So things aren't ever truly deleted. They always sort of stay there once they've been put in place, and that's important to remember. There's some other things here that I'm not going to get into today. So for example, we can add a video. Most of you won't need to do that. We can save this as a separate report name, merge reports, or show this as a slideshow. I'm not going to get into that. That's sort of some more advanced or more specific functionality. So for all intents and purposes, you've seen most of what you need to do here. It's pretty straightforward. There are some minor bugs, as you've seen, but these are being worked on in updated versions. So good luck, and as usual, fire me some emails if you have any questions. Thanks.